Yo, people, welcome back to another stream, and it's another episode 18 of the After the Boundary show where we discuss all things cricket. And we've got a stats lineup today. We've got South Africa series 1, England series 1, and the upcoming series against Ireland. We've got India versus Australia. I will also discuss this win of the Asia Cup. And then Bangladesh against New Zealand, with New Zealand and England, the series discussion. So yeah, and if time permits it, we will do South Africa woman versus New Zealand woman. But I'm not alone. I am joined by Money. Alright.
Yeah, all good, all good. Partially excited for Arsenal's return to the Champions League tonight. But anytime I get to do an off to the boundary show, it's always good fun. We got a lot to discuss, so no more small talk. Let's get it on the way, shall we? Hanno? Hanno. You all right, son?
I think I'm back.
Yep, yeah. You are. I can hear you. So I thought I lost you for a minute. So yeah, let's talk. We got a lot to talk about, shall we?
Yeah, let's start off with South Africa. For Series 1, comeback Series 1 over Australia. And I think we did really good. Good in the other 3 games. We put up big totals and bowled really well. I was thinking we might lose with the start Australia had in that first T20. Third. No? Fifth T20, sorry. We won the Series 5-2. Fifth T20, I thought we might just...
You mean fifth ODI?
Yeah, fifth ODI, sorry. Yeah, I thought we might just lose there, but we didn't. So that was really good from us to fight back with the ball, and in the end we dismissed them quite easily. Really, on the batting surface, I think you need to get into. Can't just eat the ball and expect to win. Come in and hit the ball. But yeah, I think we had a comprehensive Series 1 in the end over them. But it came down to the last one. I think we did good. So yeah, but Manny, yours.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the last 3 ODIs, and obviously, South Africa batted first, and obviously took advantage of the surface to be able to post such big totals. I think it's fair to say that the Australian bowling, after doing so well in the first 2 ODIs, completely fell to pieces for some reason, and maybe this was because, with the Cock and Bavoom at the top of the order, Reza Hendricks and Aiden Markram in number 3 and 4. Then the likes of Heinrich Klaassen, David Miller, and Marco Jansen. Those 7 guys you've got there, Hanno, are really, really quality batsmen in limited overs format for South Africa. And it's often said that you need a couple of your guys to get some really big scores. The 4th ODI was really, I think, the one which knocked the stuffing out of them, because to concede 416 for 5 and only take 5 wickets, the luckless Adam Zampa going for 113 from his 10, and only Michael Nessa conceding at less than 6 and over. It was just a case of how, if you're able to play this way with such attacking intent, really, look to see and hit the ball very well as a South African batsman, you can get some good runs. And, the last time, I think it's fair to say, the last time I ever saw such terrific hitting was when Herschel Gibbs was still playing. And I don't know if you necessarily remember him, Hanno. You might have been quite young when he was sort of coming near to the end of his career, but in his prime, he was just swashbuckling. And you probably will have heard about the, his innings of 175, which played a big role in South Africa earning the world record for the the highest ever successful ODI chase in history. And he was always the type of batsman who wanted to attack from the get-go. The lofted cover drive that he used to play was a shot that was quite famous. But all of these batsmen, I think they just they really, really, really took the initiative and carted the bowlers all around. Klassen in particular, 13 sixes, 13 fours in that fourth ODI. He literally broke their back, and it was at better than 2 runs a ball, strike rate of over 200. Half century for Van der Dussen, and very important 82 as well from David Miller. The bowlers just looked demoralized at the very end, and nothing that Australia could do would even work. And of course, that match was lost at the end of that first innings, and obviously David Warner and Travis Head getting out early didn't help much either. Fine innings from Alex Carey. Sad that he got out one short of a century, and it sort of summed up Australia's luck that particular day. But it's just as well that a few bowlers might be coming back into the picture. But clearly, it's a sign that this Australian bowling, that this B-side bowling attack, as it were, is really not nowhere near as good as people think it is, and they've got to really work a lot harder. So batting-wise, I think you're very well set. And as far as the bowling is concerned, it was wonderful to see several bowlers step up really well. I did catch a bit of the fifth one international, and when Labuschagne and Warner were hitting quite well, I was thinking, no, it was actually Marsh and Labuschagne that were hitting really, really well. And I was thinking, Australia could be back onto something here. And Jansen, who took 5 wickets in that match, was bowling a little bit short, and Marsh was hooking him for sixes over, a backward square leg. But the short ball, the slower, was used very well. It was well directed, and credit has to be given to Bavuma for sticking with Jansen when another captain would possibly have said, you know what, I can't have you conceding too many sixes. But Jansen and Maharaj really broke Australia terribly. And the takeaway from this is that if you can sort of maintain the bulk of this squad, this should be the bulk of your World Cup squad, and have them perform well in India, they could go a long way. But it will be very interesting, having said that, to take a look at how the South African middle order will be able to play spin. I think Miller's a more than decent player of spin. Klassen obviously carted Zampa all around the park in the fourth ODI, but, Zampa and the Indian spinners, for instance, are going to be completely chalk and cheese. So, it's looking good for South Africa, and I have to say that I'm really, impressed with the way they recovered brilliantly. And if they can take this momentum to the tournament, who knows? This could very well be some special tournament for South Africa. But then we used to keep saying that about South African teams of days gone by, and more often than not, our hopes would be dashed in a way. But it's a new tournament, and this particular group stage as well will really it promises to be a real humdinger with all 10 in one group. So I really can't wait to see how things pan out.
Speaking of the World Cup, we've got some big losses. Enrich Nokia out. Magala out. Two of probably four bowlers that would start in the big matches are out, and we got to find placements for them. I don't know who is out there, but it's going to be tough to find replacements for both of them. I think Magala.
But agreed, but take a look at how Kotze and Janssen and company were bowling. And Gidi also didn't do a bad job either. I think you just have to find some players who've done well in the limited overs competition in South Africa, and you should be just about fine. There will be some other good players on the fringes, I'm sure. It's sad that they're
Yeah,
gone. I completely agree. I mean, Norche's quality, and did you say oh yeah, Sisanda
Magala.
Magala?
Yeah,
Yeah. But you
I
should have
think.
Rabada back in the squad, right?
Yeah, he's there. So yeah, um, but I think that's mostly that.
And
England. Here's
a final note. Well done to Aidan Markram for finding form at the right time. He
yeah,
stepped up, and he will be an important player for you lot.
yeah, definitely the Malcolm. Shout out to him. Moving on to England. Let's move on to England. Series one over New Zealand, rather comfortable, and now play Ireland. The first match was supposed to be today, but in typical English fashion, the rain came, and yeah, it
Mm,
rained it.
mm.
But
Well,
Gani, your thoughts?
yeah, listen, obviously I can't give any thoughts on the Ireland game, and I really don't know if necessarily that playing Ireland before the World Cup will be decent preparation, but any cricket we can get, and I think the New Zealand series was obviously, you know, decent preparation enough, a rematch, a series rematch of the World Cup final. Just taking a look at the scorecard from the fourth ODI, which we won convincingly. Um, the bowling obviously was one thing that would worry me, but Moeen Ali starring with 4 wickets for 50, and other bowlers, Willie, Topley, and company chipping in. Um, the likes of Cast were given a debut, but Atkinson has made the squad. Atkinson, however, I don't think he played in this fifth one. And the reason why I was a bit worried about the England squad was because I wasn't really, comfortable. I didn't really think that we, apart from Mark Wood and Chris Wokes, who earned their rightful places as Ashes heroes and certainly will look to be the fastest and most ferocious bowlers in the England attack, we've gone for 3 left-arm seamers and Sam Curran, David Willey, and Reece Topley. Those left-arm seamers would have been really handy in a country like Australia. I just don't know if in India, if they the thing about left-arm seamers is that sometimes if they don't get their line and length spot on, they can be carted around the ground. And someone like a Chris Jordan, I felt would have been an excellent addition to the squad, especially given how he's excelled for England in the limited overs tournaments for so many years now. But again, I mean, back to the series win, it was terrific to see England really show what they were capable of. And sadly, with Jason Roy's injury ruling him out of the squad and Harry Brook coming in, Brook's selection is probably the correct one. We have to talk. We have to talk about that innings of from Ben Stokes, England's highest ever ODI score, 9 sixes and 15 fours. It's clear to me as an England fan that his best value is as a batsman. I do not want to see him risk his knee by bowling any seamers because clearly, we don't need that. And that is where we should have been a little bit smarter in maybe picking, a more proven bowler. I mean, maybe Atkinson's a talent, but it looks as though we're going to be depending on Wokes and maybe Wood to try to get some stuff done. And shout out to David Milan as well for finding some brilliant form as an opener. At least with him and Bairstow at the top of the order, Root and Stokes at 3 and 4, or Butler can maybe come ahead of Stokes, whatever. Liam Livingston also. You see that middle order is a little bit fluid. You got Moeen Ali and Sam Curran to sort of come in and provide some good lower order hitting. So we seem to be set with regard to the batting. New Zealand's bowling, of course, is very much dependent on the returning Trent Bolt, and it's just as good that he's back. And their batting, especially at the top of the order, looks to be a bit of a worry. I think they will be regretting their decision to say bye-bye to Martin Guptill, because not only has Finn Allen been dropped from the squad contention altogether, but Conway wasn't able to get going with Will Young at the top of the order for the last two games, although Conway and Mitchell did play some excellent hands in the second ODI. That's Devon Conway and Daryl Mitchell with centuries each. 3 wickets for Wokes and Livingston each in the third ODI, which was really helpful. And as I said, Wokes will be key. Livingston, of course, is more of a part-time leg spinner who is an option if England want to bolster their batting. But I'm glad at least that they also included Adil Rashid in that squad, because you will need a good leg spinner on those Indian wickets. And actually, it was New Zealand that won the first ODI, but England came back to win the second one. And failures at the top of the order, but Livingston again proving his worth. Curran also chipping in with some very, very useful and important runs. And again, the bowling, well, Willie and Topley did do well on English pitches, but how will they do on Indian pitches? That's my big worry. But again, we see some more failures at the top of the order. And so New Zealand actually have a little bit of have some problems with the batting. It might be just as well that Williamson is coming back into the squad, but he hasn't played much cricket either. So the Kiwis have got some problems.
Yeah, definitely. I think New Zealand, don't think their squad is as strong as usual. Really. So yeah.
And of course, the news of Tim Southey's thumb injury requiring surgery, that's another blow they didn't need, eh?
Yeah, true, definitely. And then England versus Ireland. I think it's not the best preparation for the World Cup, especially on English conditions. You would almost want to, like New Zealand and Australia, doing play in the subcontinent. So yeah. But
I think for what it's worth, once England get to India, they will be playing the hosts in a warm-up game. And that's going to be interesting to see, because another big concern I have, as I mentioned, is, I mentioned it for South Africa, but can England play spin very well? I know that Ben Stokes is left-handed, but if India had a good quality leg spin, I think he'd fancy his chances against Stokes, especially if there's any rough on Stokes's offside. And they've got 2 left-arm spinners in Akshay Patel and Ravindra Jadeja, and obviously, when we played them, we carted them all around the ground. I think it was actually Butler and Hales who literally did the job. We didn't even lose a single wicket in the semi-final, which was magnificent. But coming on the Indian pitches, which will notoriously aid spin, it will be interesting to see how well we do. In 1987, when the tournament was held in India, I do remember, I didn't watch any of the games because I was too young at the time, but I do remember reading about how Mike Gatting and his boys went all the way to the final, beating India in the semi-final, ending Sunil Gavaskar's international career. And Gatting was basically the one who found a way to play the spinners by just, sweeping everywhere. But the problem is, when it comes to playing spin, you can't just stay at your crease and sweep all the time. You've got to watch the ball, the flight of the ball, the direction of it, and move your footwork down, feet down the track, and then make sure you follow through. And you've also got to know when to do that and when not to do that. So England playing India in a warm-up game will be a huge test of their batting credentials on these Indian pitches. And of course, let's not forget, whenever there have been bilateral ODI series between India and England in India, England haven't really done too well, so they don't have too many good memories. But having said that, when England played India in the 2011 World Cup. That match very nearly was won by England, and India were lucky to tie that match, I would say.
Yeah. Uh, uh, I think New Zealand, they got problems. England, I think England is a 50-50 one. They can do good, they cannot do good this World Cup. Copenhagen up 2-0 against Galatasaray. That's a massive one.
What a shock! We were predicting that Galatasaray would master
Yeah.
them, but wow.
But yeah, moving on. Asia Cup, of course, India won the Asia Cup against Sri Lanka
Mm.
in the final. It might have been Sri Lanka. Let me just check. Asia Cup.
Yeah, it was Sri Lanka, not Australia. I know Australia are now
Yeah.
considered a part of Asia, but they don't play in the Asian Cup.
No, no, no. I mean, no, that series. India Australia series.
Oh,
That's
right, right,
coming back.
right, right, right.
But Asia
Oh, that's
Cup,
going to be.
yeah, it is going to be good. India won, so Bangladesh beat India. Um, but
I
in the
wouldn't.
end, Bangladesh just failed to qualify. Pakistan losing, only winning one, losing two of their matches. Um, so yeah, Pakistan also, they, I don't know what they will do. But yeah, Sri Lanka qualified for the final, and India comfortably won. Again, rain played a factor, or was it the rain, or what? Was it just no rain actually, but just bowled out Sri Lanka. Jeez, all for
Yeah,
display
there
in the
was that.
final.
Yeah, Siraj
So
with 5 wickets there.
all for display. I feel for the Sri Lankan fans, but expected series one day um, from tournament one from India will be hoping to win the World Cup from that. So yeah, but India versus Australia, the series. I believe it's an ODI series. Let me just make sure. And 2023. Yeah, they kick off on Friday. It's three ODIs, finishing on Wednesday. So yeah, but first, Manny, what did you make of the Asia Cup and then the series, India Australia?
Um, I did catch quite a bit of it, but mainly towards the end because it's more of really a closed sort of tournament. Obviously we have to mention the likes of Afghanistan and don't remember which other team played, but it really was going to be a case of the big four Asian teams: India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, and their experience sort of telling in the end. Really, Nepal was the sixth team, I think, which came to play, and as expected, they never really offered much in terms of resistance either. But you know, it was effectively sort of well known that India were the big favourites to win, and they did win convincingly in the end. And I think it's clear to see that the other three teams that were in the Super 4 stage had some problems of their own. You could tell that Sri Lanka obviously were quite weak with their batting, with the exception of the captain Shanaka and maybe to some extent Karunaratne. There wasn't really too many. There weren't really too many batsmen who would have taken the initiative that much, and they seemed to struggle quite a bit with the bat in many ways. Maybe a few of them did score some good 50s, but that was pretty much about it. They seemed to depend a lot more on their own bowling more than anything else. But I don't really see them causing too many problems. And you get an idea why they had to play the qualifiers to make the tournament along with the Netherlands, given how poor their ODI form was over the last 12 months prior to the tournament. Pakistan are a team which always blows hot and cold, yes and no, in and out, up and down, as Katy Perry would say. And you could see that when they click magnificently. But when they don't click, they're absolutely, you know, they just can't really move forward. And they seem to be dependent as well on too many star players like Shaheen Afridi, also the captain Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan, and a few other big players. You don't seem to have too many people who are willing to step up to the plate. One exception perhaps being Mohammad Haris, who also impressed when Pakistan played the T20 World Cup in Australia. But they need to start becoming a lot more consistent and a lot more focused. And Shaheen Afridi is really their biggest threat as the bowler, but the rest of them, for the most part, I'm not too sure that they can really, step up when it matters. But one thing about Pakistan, I think I've told you, they're so unpredictable. Just when you think that they
Yeah,
won't really amount to very much, they surprise you. In the T20 tournament, they were almost down and out. And then, of course, somehow by hook or crook, and I'm not going to mention how, out of respect to you, they qualified for the semis and made the final, and and they actually gave England a run for their money. So Pakistan are going to have to really look inside themselves and start working a little bit harder. But then the greatest Pakistan teams have been the most unpredictable. As far as Bangladesh are concerned, they're a team which is going to fight hard, but again, they depend too much on their captain and their skipper supreme, Shakib Al Hassan. Easily his country's greatest ever cricketer. By the time he retires, he will deservedly have that legacy. And again, it was a question of how they just weren't able to win the big moments against the other teams. They beat India quite well in the last Super Fours game, but that India team, it must be said, was a much changed team, a chance to test their bench strength. And apart from Shubman Gill with a century, no one else really was able to get going, and they lost by 8 or so runs. But India looked to be a powerhouse team, and we will come to this particular series. There's been a lot of controversy as well with India's selection for the World Cup squad. As I've mentioned, they've picked 2 left-arm spinners in Patel and Jadeja, and also Kuldeep Yadav, who is certainly, he's more of a left-arm Chinaman, as it were. So there's no room for Ashwin Ravichandran, but he finds a place in the India squad for this ODI series. And maybe this could be a chance for him to remind the selectors of how capable he is, and see if he can't somehow manage to force his way in. In fact, it is said that this particular series will be a chance possibly for Ashwin to force his way in, because Patel is actually recovering from a left quadriceps strain that he picked up during the Asia Cup. So if he is unable to get it, then it could be between 2 Tamil boys in Washington Sundar and Ashwin Ravichandran, both of whom have fine ODI records. But Ashwin obviously has played many more tests, about 100 or so, and he hasn't really played too many ODI games in the last 6 years. He's sort of fallen out of contention because I think, the variety that he's offered with the legendary Karen ball of his, I think people have started to figure that out a bit. But at least Ashwin has been trying to play some cricket recently, and Washington has also been injury free. So if Akshay Patel is ruled out of the squad, then it could be that one of those 2 gets a chance to force his way into the squad. They may decide to go with Ashwin, and if that is the case, then that will provide a little bit more balance, because as I said, Kuldeep Yadav is left arm wrist spin, so he will definitely be a key player. But you can't have a World Cup squad, a bowling attack, without a quality off spinner. And the part-time off spin of either Sharma or Kohli or whoever have you will never ever be enough. And a question from Wolf: any weather report on India? Hoping rain doesn't ruin the World Cup. As far as I can tell, Wolf, it's raining right now in my neck of the woods, which is Madras, but I don't see the rain affecting many other cities. In fact, it will be taking place in October, by which time the rains will have gone. So hopefully, touch wood, we should see many of the games go ahead. So you will be kept posted, I promise you.
Yeah. The India not select nation. That's big. And as for the series, I reckon India will win the first two. I don't think that Australian team will do that well, to be honest. But yeah,
You never know
that's it.
because obviously, with the last three ODIs against South Africa, they didn't have their best bowling attack. And if we take a look, yeah, there has been a recall for Ashton Agar, and he could possibly play a bit of a role. And Pat Cummins is expected to come back into the series, along with the likes of Steve Smith and others. Cummins should be fit for the World Cup despite having fractured his wrist. And there's no Marnus Labuschagne in the one-day squad either. Sanger and Hardy have been included. So it's really good to see Mitchell Marsh very much back in the picture. But, and of course, Glenn Maxwell being back in will obviously lend a great deal to the batting. And of course, when you take a look at Australia's squad, you see Mitchell Starc returning. That and Cummins also obviously should make a comeback. Those two in itself will add the experience and the know-how that they need. And I think we could very well see Zampa facing some tough competition for a place in the squad in lieu of the struggles he had against South Africa. Also, David Warner did return to form in the first two ODIs of the South Africa series. He should have secured his spot in the World Cup. Surprisingly, Travis Head might have some doubts over his position. But it will be interesting to see. And if we take a look at the fixtures, as you said, first ODI in Mohali, second in Indore, the third in Rajkot. So, yeah, India should be able to win this series because of the home conditions. But I wouldn't be surprised if Australia are able to win at least the third, if not the second ODI. Hannah, are you there, son?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Cool, cool.
So many commentators and
I try.
Australia rubbish. Yeah, they kind of rubbish. Prediction. Serious prediction. I'm
As I
going
said, I'm
to 1 India
2-1,
3 now.
2-1, 2-1, 2-1 for me as well. I don't think India will sweep the series. Australia are going to look to try and fight hard. And Starc and Cummins will have a role to play as the more experienced seamers. And maybe the spin will be slightly improved. But India should win the series.
And then Bangladesh versus New Zealand. Bangladesh, they have been impressive at times. Let me just get fixtures. It's also a free ODI starting tomorrow. Bangladesh against New Zealand. Um, I'm going to go for. I'm going to back Bang. You know what? Actually, no. 1-1. One of them rains out.
Oh, so you're
90
taking
for
into
minutes
consideration.
winner for Real Madrid.
I'm going to wager that it was Mr. Bellingham who got that.
Let me check. Warm up matches start. I think. Well,
Let me check. I've got the
well,
schedule here. Let me take a look and see.
okay,
So
okay.
yeah, we've
Let me
got
check.
the group stage, and we'll just confirm everything.
Real Madrid.
Yeah,
It was
it'll be
Jude Bellingham.
who else? Hey, Jude. Well,
Hey,
the tournament proper, Wolf, will be starting on the 5th of October. I would assume that that the warm up games will probably be played in the first few days, 2 days of the month, maybe the first and the second, and we're trying to just
Let me
yeah. The
check.
only problem is the fixture details have been released, and England are going to open proceedings with a repeat of the final at Ahmedabad on the 5th. They will, of course, be playing India in a warm-up game, and I'm just trying to find out if
Um,
those are scheduled yet.
they start on the 29th of September.
Ah, cool, cool. Yeah.
So it starts off with Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, South Africa, New Zealand, Pakistan, India, England, Australia, Netherlands, uh, then Bangladesh, England, New Zealand, South Africa, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, India, Netherlands, Australia, Pakistan. Um, yeah, that's all of them.
Mm,
So 23rd
right,
of October,
right.
and then
And
one
yeah, go
day,
ahead.
and then the 4th of October gap, and then the World Cup starts. So soon.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly talk about the Bangladesh team.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, when on the last two occasions that New Zealand played Bangladesh in ODI series, there were clean sweeps for Bangladesh on both occasions, 4-0 and 3-0. But obviously, Bangladesh have opted to rest several of their star players: Shakib Al Hassan, Mushfiqur Rahim, Mehdi Hassan Miraz, and Taskin Ahmed, along with Shariful Islam and Hassan Mahmood. They've recalled Tamim Iqbal and Mahmoudullah, two senior players, and Listen Das will captain the team. And I think if we take a look at New Zealand, obviously, I did say that they've got some problems, and we're going to see their squad. The big news, of course, is that Lockie Ferguson will be,
Skoda.
captain. Yeah, he's captain for the series against Bangladesh, and yeah, they've rested a lot of their World Cup bound players. Lockie Ferguson will lead the side, including Trent Bolt, Rachin Ravindra, Ish Sodhi, and Will Young. Those five are going to be in the World Cup, and interesting choice to make Lockie captain. Only ever led one competitive game before, and
Shout out to
if
Lockie
we,
Ferguson. I rate him.
yeah, so
But
can't really see the squad at the moment. We'll probably find out who will be playing. Um,
take a move. No, I think we'll find
yeah,
out
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. No, listen. We've got the Bangladesh ODI squad over here. Obviously, Finn Allen won't be in the World Cup squad, but he goes to Bangladesh along with the likes of Tom Blundell and Henry Nichols. The young all-rounder Dean Foxcroft finds his place in the squad, and Adam Milne and Kyle Jameson are in the Bangladesh squad. I don't think either of them will be going to the tournament either, but they've opted for a little bit of experience, and obviously with Ferguson sticking around to be a part of the World Cup squad, they decided to make him captain. So you got an interesting prediction of a one-all series draw, because I think maybe you're taking the Bangladesh weather into account. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 Bangladesh win, because they seem to have mastery of the conditions, and this New Zealand team is very heavily inexperienced. They're going to be on a hiding to nothing, but you never know. Maybe the Kiwis will somehow come good, and if Finn Allen does make a few good scores, there could be some last-minute changes. But you know, as I said, the Kiwis do have some issues, and they're going to have to deal with them as quickly as possible.
Yeah. They definitely will need to deal with them. But yeah, I think that's that. Really. We can quickly. I think that's that. Basically. Yeah, Manny, where can people find you? Just quick, you can do that.
Yeah, without much ado, you can find me over here on the Coach's Corner discussing football, cricket, and rugby and other sports with our boy, Mr. Trollope. His father's Dr. Trollope, by the way, so it is what it is. And
Not
several
doctor.
other channels on. Huh?
Is that a doctor?
Oh, my bad. Well, You can find me on several other channels on YouTube. Shout out to all of them, but I don't think I have time to shout them all out. Always good to come on this channel and talk Turkey with Hanno and do a lot of streams with him. We share a lot of common sports interests. It's wonderful. And he's a really terrific person to be able to work with, and I'm enjoying being a part of his channel. So, obviously, Champions League's about to start, and my attention will be drawn to that. But until then, thanks a lot to all of you who've joined in, Chelsea fan, Mystic Werewolf, and others in the chat. Do enjoy the rest of your evening or the rest of your day. Enjoy the sporting action coming up, and we hope to see you as well during the World Cup, where we will provide you some good coverage, analysis, and maybe some coverage if possible. Until then, see you all soon, and I'm about to leave. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, for me, you guys can find me on, of course, on there, and then Instagram, Hannah_coach_corner, Twitter, 708300, wait, 70830030, TikTok, Coach Corner 1. I've been posting lots of reels and TikToks there. So yeah, do make sure to follow me on there. And yeah, enjoy the Champions League matches, everyone, and we are out.